Commander Sarah Chen had faced many impossible situations during her 20-year career with the Terran Deep Space Corps, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. She stood in the crystalline throne room of the Zephyrian Empire, surrounded by towering aliens whose bioluminescent skin pulsed with agitated patterns of purple and gold. At the center of it all, Queen Veltara, a being whose species had conquered half the galaxy, stared at the small device in Sarah's hands with what could only be described as terror. "This can't be," the Queen cried, her voice resonating through the chamber like a symphony of wind chimes. Her forearms trembled as she gestured toward the innocuous-looking cube. The eternal cipher. It's been lost for millennia. No species has ever... Sarah remained perfectly still, though her heart hammered against her ribs. 3 days ago, she had been leading a routine archaeological expedition on the abandoned planet of Kepler 442b. What they had discovered in those ancient ruins had changed everything, not just for humanity, but potentially for the entire galactic. "Order!" The device hummed softly in her palm, its surface smooth and warm like river stone. To her human eyes, it appeared unremarkable, a palm-sized cube covered in shifting geometric patterns that seemed to dance just beyond the edge of comprehension. But according to the Zephyrian historical archives they had intercepted, this was the legendary Eternal Cipher, a key to technology so advanced that it had elevated the ancient precursor race to godlike status before their mysterious disappearance. Queen Veltara took a step forward, then another. Her retinue of advisors hissed warnings in their musical language, but she ignored them. Her large, opalescent eyes never left the cube as she approached Sarah with movements that were both graceful and predatory. "How?" the Queen whispered now, close enough that Sarah could smell the strange, sweet fragrance that surrounded all Zephyrians, like jasmine mixed with ozone. "How did your primitive species succeed where we have failed for 10,000 years?" Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Maybe that's exactly why we succeeded, Your Majesty. We're not sophisticated enough to know it was impossible." The truth was more complex than that, of course. Dr. Marcus Webb, her team's xenoarchaeologist, had been the one to make the crucial breakthrough. While the Zephyrians and other advanced species had approached the precursor ruins with their usual technological superiority, trying to decode alien mysteries with quantum computers and neural interface systems, Webb had done something characteristically human. He had sat on a rock and stared at the puzzle for 3 straight days. "It's like those old magic eye pictures," he had explained excitedly when the breakthrough came. "You have to stop trying so hard to see it. The precursors weren't just technologically advanced, they were artists. This isn't a lock to be picked. It's a song to be heard." And Webb had been right. The moment he stopped analyzing the geometric patterns and started feeling them, the cube had awakened. It responded not to technological interfaces or psionic probes, but to something uniquely human: intuition, coupled with stubborn persistence. Queen Veltara was now close enough to touch. Her breathing was rapid, creating small crystalline formations in the cold air of the throne room. In her upper right hand, she held something that made Sarah's blood freeze, a neural crown of precursor design, its tendrils writhing with anticipation. "You will interface with it," the Queen commanded, though her voice lacked its usual authority. "You will unlock its secrets for the glory of the Zephyrian Empire." Sarah shook her head slowly. "I don't think so, Your Majesty. You see, this device doesn't work that way. It's not about forcing understanding, it's about earning it." "Impossible!" The Queen's skin flared brilliant crimson. "The precursors were the most advanced civilization in galactic history. Their technology cannot be unlocked by feelings." "Can't it?" Sarah held up the cube, and its patterns began to shift more rapidly, responding to her emotional state. Your people have spent millennia trying to conquer precursor technology the same way you conquered the galaxy, through force and superior intellect. But what if the precursors chose to disappear because they learned something you haven't? The Queen paused, her bioluminescence dimming to a confused yellow-green. What could they have learned? That some things are more powerful than conquest. Some mysteries are meant to be lived, not solved. Sarah took a deep breath. The cube doesn't contain technology, Your Majesty. It contains something else entirely. With that, Sarah pressed her thumb against the device's center and let her mind open to the possibilities it contained. The throne room filled with a warm, golden light that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere. For a moment, every being, present, human and Zephyrian alike, felt something they had never experienced. Complete understanding of their place in the universe, not as conquerors or conquered, but as participants in something infinitely larger and more beautiful. The Queen fell to her knees, all four arms trembling. The neural crown clattered to the crystalline floor, forgotten. "This can't be," she whispered again, but this time her voice held wonder instead of denial. They didn't leave behind weapons or tools. They left behind peace, Sarah finished, quietly. The one thing that no amount of technology can create and no amount of force can achieve. As the golden light faded, Sarah carefully tucked the cube back into her jacket. Around them, the Zephyrian court remained silent, processing what they had witnessed. The Queen looked up at her with new eyes, eyes that saw not a primitive human, but a teacher. "What happens now?" Queen Veltara asked. Sarah smiled. "Now we learn to listen instead of conquer, and maybe, just maybe, we figure out why the precursors thought that was worth becoming legends for." The revolution began with a whisper in a crystal palace, carried by a species too stubborn to know when they were outmatched, and too human to stop believing in the impossible.